Okay friends, welcome. So we're gonna start out today in child's pose. So you're welcome just to come to a tabletop. If your knees are ready to bend right away, that's awesome, you can go right into it. Or if you need to take a downward facing dog too, you can reach your body back up, stretch it out for a sec, and then find your child's pose. For your child's pose, you wanna take your knees out wide towards the edges of your mat, and then big toes together, and just rest your sit bones back towards your heels. Relax the weight of the forehead down to the ground, lengthen the arms out in front of you. And then just release your air all the way down to empty. Breathe into your low belly for 1, 2, 3, and hold. Breathe into your mid-abdomen for 1, 2, 3, and hold. Fill all the way to the chest, fill all the way to the shoulders. Once you got your full breath, just hold on to it and relax. And then take a slow exhale for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that again. Breathe in low belly, low back. Breathe into your mid-abdomen, your mid-back. Take it all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Once you've got your full breath, just hold and relax. And then that slow exhale to release all the way back down to empty. From the bottom of your breath, begin your Ujjayi breathing. Engaging the muscles in the back of the throat. As you breathe in through your nose, slowly draw the air in from the bottom up to the top. And on your exhale, use those same muscles in the back of the throat just to narrowly and slowly release all the way back down to empty. And then we start to create these waves of breath. We ride the waves of breath. And this creates our mindfulness practice. And the intention is that we take this mindfulness practice and that we plug it in with the movement so we get that mindful movement. On your inhale, friend, just rise up into your tabletop. And as you exhale, you can round your back into cat. So just drop the head down, pull your mid-back up high in space. Just take that a couple more times. Inhaling to breathe into your cows. Exhaling to round your back into your cats. We'll pause in a neutral flat back, hands and knees. And thread the needle with your right arm. So on an inhale, just reach and extend your right arm up tall in space, twist open. And as you exhale, just dive your right arm underneath the left, get some length out through your arm. And then just settle your shoulder and the side of the head all the way down to the ground. Your gaze will be off to the left. And you can have your left hand or forearm anywhere at your side, pushing into the ground so it pushes you back to the shoulder. Another option you can take is taking your left hand and tucking it back behind you in space so that it ends up hooking to the outside of your right hip. While you're stretching and reaching your right arm out to the left, you can press down into it and then let your right shoulder pull back to the right. Feeling into that stretch along the outside of your arm, along the outside of your shoulder. Easy inhales, easy exhales. Again, just think about riding out those waves of breath. Enjoying just the simplicity that inhales and exhales bring. If your left hand is behind you, bring it back down to the ground underneath your left shoulder, And on your inhale, reach and extend your right arm back and up in space, twisting open, reaching to the sky. And as you exhale, just come back down into your tabletop. We're going to move into your left arm right away, so once that right hand is rooted underneath your shoulder, inhale to reach your left arm up for thread the needle, and then on the exhale, dive your left arm underneath your right. And again, think about bringing your shoulder, the side of your head, all the way down to the ground. From here, we can have the right hand or the right forearm pressing into the earth or resting at your side. Or if you took that modification, you could take the hand and tuck it back behind you in space, hooking to the outside of your left hip. And then as you're doing this full belly breath, the inhale brings that air in, pushes up around the pose, expands into the pose. When your exhale comes, your body's able to release into the stretch that you're taking. So we're talking about riding out waves of breath with our mind, right? Keeping our mind occupied with inhaling and exhaling. And the other side of that breathing is we also get this massage for our body on the physical level. Find that last final deep, slow round of breath. And then if you've got that right hand behind you, just bring it back down to the mat. On an inhale, draw your left arm from underneath. Reach and extend up tall in space, breathe in. As you exhale, come back down to your tabletop. Before we move into a plank, if you'd like to warm up your wrists and your forearms, you can plant your hands to the ground so your fingers are pointing backwards, the insides of the wrists are forward, your thumbs are to the side. You can rock side to side or back and forth. And not only are you getting into your wrists, your fingers, we're all the way down into the hands, moving all the way into the hands. Beautiful. When you're ready, we're taking the palms down to the mat, you can take the back of your hands down to the ground, and we can do something very similar, just giving a little back and forth massage or a little bit of a side to side movement. And then drop your sit bones back to your heels, tops of the feet to the mat into hero's pose, and just give a roll out through your wrists. Move into your fingers. And we'll meet up at the top of the plank position. You can stay on your toes, or you can bring it down to your knees and cross your ankles back behind you in space. But just take a few yoga push-ups. Just exhales bring you halfway down. Inhales bring you back up at the top. What we're looking to do is to avoid bending the hips while we're here. So keep that plank from your heels all the way out through the crown, or from your knees all the way through your head. Hold into your core muscles, biceps toning to center. And then on your next exhale, just bring yourself flat down to the ground. We'll set up for a low cobra bhujangasana. Tops of the feet are down. Slide your palms lower down your torso to frame the mid-ribs. And then squeeze your elbows in towards one another. And so your shoulder blades come in. And start to lift your chest up off the ground, finding length through the back of your neck. And although if you looked at somebody in low cobra, it might look like they're pressing their way up into it through their hands. We're actually not using the arm strength here. We're using that core strength and that back strength. So try floating your hands off the mat, or if you want to take us into locust pose, reach your arms back in space and lift your thighs up off the ground as well. Beautiful breathing. On your next exhale, friends, we can release things down and then make your way into down dog, so you can move through a tabletop or you can shift through your plank. Draw your hips back and up in space, and then we can slowly walk out through the dog, letting one heel pull down to the ground at a time. Hands are slightly wider than your shoulders, press into the circle of your palms, spread into your fingers. Micro bend through your elbows and hug your biceps into center line like you were holding two tennis balls between your ears and your biceps. Hook through the navel, let the hips lift back up away as you're pressing down into the ground, and then draw the length in your legs from the hips lifting up behind you. On an inhale, reach and extend your right leg back up tall in space. Find a three-legged downward facing dog. Let the front of your right hip bone point down and back as you're lifting and extending that leg back and up in space. And then on an exhale, just bring the knee into your forehead, round through your back, hold in and stay with that breath. You can pull that back left heel up off the ground while you're there. We'll step up into a low lunge position, so right foot up in between your hands. Once you've got your foot up in between your hands, leave either your left fingers, fist, or palm down into the ground, and then we'll twist this low lunge, reaching and extending your right arm up tall in space. Stacking that right shoulder over the left shoulder. Excellent, friends. If you want to challenge yourself, you can move just to the 5 fingertips on the left hand, to the middle fingertip of the left hand, and then just pull the left hand slightly up off of the ground, so it's just hovering up off of the ground. And then on an exhale, you just return back into your low lunge position, both hands framing. Drop the knife edge of your left foot down to the ground, warrior 2 on the rise. You could bring your hands to your hips, or you could open your arms directly into that warrior 2 posture. Hands to hips or low back would just be used just to feel your way into the stance. Press down into the knife edge of that back left foot. Feel the press down into your right foot, and then let the thighs pull back into center line. So you're stabilizing yourself, pushing down and out, and then bringing it back and in. And then as we open the arms up, just gaze out across those front fingertips. The shoulder heads release down away from the ears on your back. On an exhale, move from warrior 2 into extended side eagle pose. Just rooting your right forearm to your right thigh, letting that left arm draw up tall in space. Opening through your chest, staying with the inhales, staying with the exhales. Find the strength of your inner right side body to the point where, if you'd like, you could try just lifting your right forearm, just hovering it above your right thigh, even just for a moment, so you're feeling the true strength that's in your back, around your spine inside of this. And then on an inhale, you're going to open up to a star facing off to the left. So all 10 toes face out to the left, and then your arms open up nice and long. Excellent. Breathe in here. And on your exhale, we'll move into a wide-legged squat position or horse. So you're going to bring your heels in underneath your knees, and then take your hands down on top of your thighs. So wide-legged squat. Drop your sit bones deep back in space. Awesome. Once you've got your hands onto your thighs, we'll inhale with the chest straight up in space. And then on an exhale, you're going to twist your right shoulder towards your left knee, so to the back of the room. And you should start to feel your left shoulder stacking over your right shoulder while you're here. And always nice to breathe inside of a twist. We can switch things out when you're ready, so you just inhale to bring your spine up in space. And on your exhale, switch it out so your left shoulder towards your right knee, so your left hand is pressing off that left thigh. When we come into this on the other side, we're going to hold on to this wide-legged squat and just hold it and breathe. But for now, take an inhale to reach back up into your star, and then return to warrior 2 on your exhale. Turn your right palm to the sky, breathe into it, and then as you reverse your warrior on your exhale. So left hand to your hip thigh or behind you, right arm up nice and tall in space. You can add that little bend into your right elbow if you want. Let your left shoulder drop down away from your left ear. And if you lift it out of your lunge, just recommit back into your lunge, your knee right over your heel. So still feel that strength in your legs right here. Take one more breath in, and when your exhale comes, cartwheel your hands down to frame your right foot. Turn out the ball of your left foot into a low lunge position. High crescent lunge on the rise. Just lifting your arms up nice and tall in space. You can drop that back left knee down a little bit to get a little bit deeper into it. Think about the opening through your chest while you're here. So your shoulders are drawing towards one another. Shoulder heads are down away from the ears on the back. And even if you need to widen your arms out in space to achieve that shape, we can open them up a little bit wider. That back left heel is pulling off the mat, so you're on the ball of your left foot, again stabilizing with your thighs in. And then we're going to move into airplane, Takasana. So when you're ready, you'll fly your arms back, left leg lifts back. Spine is very similar if we were in that locust pose, fingers extending back. You can even bend your elbows, lift them a little bit up in space, and then feel your shoulder blades toning in towards one another, that support on the back. Press back through your heel, chest slightly lifted up. And then on an inhale, we can move this all the way up into a one-legged mountain. So bring your arms, bring your left knee with you. If you find yourself, falling out of it, just bring yourself back in. That's the practice. With each inhale, we just get to recommit, recreate. If you want, for the last couple rounds of breath, we'll lift that left thigh up in space as you're taking the left foot forward. So we do this leg extension without leaning back. If anything, there's more pressure in the ball of your right foot. And then on an exhale, just bring the foot to the ground, draw the hands into the heart center, and on an inhale, lift up into Tadasana Mountain. When your exhale comes, hinge out from your hips and control your swan dog all the way down into your forward fold. Inhale brings you halfway up, lengthen through the spine, tone your shoulders. And then plant your hands and come back into a plank position. And this is your choice of how you want to make your way to down dog. You could go directly from plank. You could take Chaturanga Dandasana, that's a half push-up. You could take upward facing dog on the tops of the feet and the hands. Or you could do another little cobra. And then we take that meat up, coming back into our down dog. From down dog, when you're feeling set into it, inhale to draw your left leg back and up in space. And again, press through your heel. The front of your left hip bone point down and back as you lift up through that leg. Exhale to bring the knee into your forehead, round through your back. That back heel lifting up nice and tall in space, awesome. And then when you're ready, we'll use the core strength just to step that foot up in between our hands and find our low lunge position. This time the right hand, fist or palm down to the ground, or fingers, and then extending that left arm up, twisting that low lunge. Stacking your left shoulder over your right shoulder. Okay, and if you want to challenge yourself, you can stay right where you're at. If you want to go for it, you're going to go to the 5 fingertips of your right hand. And then just the middle fingertip of the right hand, and then try hovering the right hand just off of the ground, but keeping the shape of the pose. We'll breathe in wherever you're at, and then we're taking a low lunge on your exhale. So both hands down to frame your left foot. Drop the knife edge of your right foot to the ground, and then start to work your way into your warrior two. Think about a nice long stance from the front of your mat to your back. Your heels are in one line. Connect down into the knife edge of that right foot. Strong right leg pressing down into your left leg, and then that stabilizing back into center. Arms opened up nice and long. Gaze out across your fingertips. Breathe in, and then we'll move into our extended side angle on your next exhale. Rooting your left forearm down into your left thigh. Taking that right arm up nice and tall. You can also take your right arm onto a diagonal out from your right leg. And again, if you'd like, just try hovering your left forearm just off of your left thigh. So feeling that strength in your back. And it's from your legs right all the way up to your back, all the way through your core. Awesome. On an inhale, open up to your star shape, facing over to the right this time. And as you exhale, we'll come into our wide-legged squats. And we're going to hold the wide-legged squat. You can do this with your hands to your thighs. That's fantastic. You can do this with your hand to your heart. You can open your arms up wide and hug the shoulders in. Just double check that you're not rolling onto the inside edge of your feet. We want to feel that opening up and back through our thighs. If you'd like to take this up a notch, you can lift your heels up off the ground so that you're taking it on the balls of your feet. And whenever we do something like that, when we lift up to the balls of our feet, immediately you're going to feel stabilizing muscles kick in. The stabilizing muscles kick in. Find your breath. You're doing great. And then on an inhale, just reach back up into star. And as you exhale, we're going to open to warrior 2 to the front of the room. Turn your left palm to the sky, take that deep breath in, and as you release the breath, just open to your reverse warrior. So right hand to your hip thigh or behind you, reaching up to that left side body. If your right hip is popping up inside of this, so if it's above your left hip, we want to make an adjustment where we're still getting that right hip on level with the left as we come back into our pose. And that's for the whole Warrior 2 series. Nice breathing. So one more inhale here, and then when that exhale comes, you're just cartwheeling down into a low lunge position. You're on the ball of the right foot, and then inhale to a high crescent lunge. And if you want, that back right knee can just drop a little bit lower so your front left thigh is parallel to the ground. Feel that hug of the thighs in, back right heel pulling forward, and then we're opening through the chest here. So shoulder blades coming towards one another, shoulder heads down away from the ears on the back. And then we're using this to launch, so on an exhale, press off your right foot, stand on your left, we're in Dakasana airplane. So this is a sister pose to Warrior 3. In Warrior 3, you're totally capital T. In this one, you get a little bit of a lift up through your chest and a little bit of a lift up through your gaze, so it's more similar to that locust pose. If there was a mirror in front of you, you'd be looking at yourself in the mirror inside of an airplane. And then on an inhale, friends, we can start to pull that right leg up in space, finding our one-legged mountain. And for the first few rounds of breath, you're just feeling that root down into your left foot, down into your big left toe. You're finding your gaze, you're finding the strength. And then we can start to add that extension of the right leg forward, and at the same time, it's a lift up through your right thigh. And there's a lot of that core strength we're engaging here. So we lift up through the thigh and extend forward in space. One more inhale lifts us up. And on an exhale, just bring the foot to the ground, circle your hands into your chest at standing Samasthiti. Inhale to reach up into mountain Tadasana. And then when your exhale comes, hinge out from your hips and control your swan dive to your forward fold. Inhale brings us halfway up, lengthen through your spine, strengthen Ardha Uttanasana, and then plant the hands, move into your plank, and your choice of how you're going to take your flow to down dog. Whether it's plank directly to down dog, or that half push-up, or and then into an up dog or a little cobra. We're going to take our sequence, that sun salutation B, where one inhale brings us to one pose, one exhale brings us to the next, so breath to movements. However, we still get to move thoughtfully, we still get to stay connected and modified as you need to. So on an inhale, pull your right leg back and up to a three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, you're going to bring your knee to your forehead and step the foot up in between your hands, low lunge position. Leave your left hand at the ground. Inhale reaches your right arm up, twisted low lunge. And as you exhale, return the hand down into your low lunge position. Knife edge of the left foot to the ground. Inhale, warrior 2, left arm back, right arm forward. Exhale, extended side angle pose, so right forearm to right thigh. Your inhale is to your star, facing to the left. And then on the exhale, come into your wide-legged squat. You can just bring your hands to your heart center. Your inhale is back to your star, opening up nice and big. And exhale, warrior 2 to the front of the room. On that inhale, reverse your warrior, sweeping the right arm up in space. And as you exhale, cartwheel down into your low lunge. High crescent lunge on the inhale, lifting up. And as you exhale, we're going to launch into that Dakasana airplane. Inhale to your one-legged mountain, your choice if you want to keep the knee bent or extend the leg as we lift up. And then exhale to standing. Inhale brings us into Tadasana mountain, so lift up through your arms. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and control swan dive into forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, half lift. Plant the hands, move to your plank, and again, your choice. You could exhale halfway down, press to the tops of your feet. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog, or however you want to do it. Inhale, reaches the left leg up, three-legged down dog. And on the exhale, round knee to forehead and step the foot up between your hands, low lunge. Leave the right hand to the earth. Inhale, left arm lifts up, twisted low lunge. And as you exhale, bring the left hand back down. Back edge the right foot to the ground. Your inhale is warrior two, right arm back, left arm forward. And on the exhale, extended side angle pose, left forearm, left thigh. So inhale, star. This time you're facing to the right. And on your exhale, your wide-legged squat position. On your inhale, open back up into your star. And then with your exhale, return to your warrior two to the front of the room. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And when your exhale comes, just take it down into your low lunge position. Inhale is your high crescent lunge, arms come up, legs are strong, and then exhale to your airplane, Banshee. Inhale, rise up, one-legged mountain, way to play with your balance, nice work. Maybe extend the leg, and then exhale to standing. On your inhale, just lift your arms up nice and tall into mountain. When the exhale comes, cactus your arms, take a baby back bend. And we're gonna be here for just a couple rounds of breath. So if your knees are locked, slight bend into them. Press to the ground. Shoulder head still, release down away from the ears. You don't need to go very deep here. Perfect. Next inhale can reach up nice and tall. And then swan dive on your exhale. Take a half lift when you breathe in, but then we're gonna refold when your exhale comes and create a ragdoll frame. Opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep. And then just allowing your torso to gently sway side to side or lightly rock back and forth. Weight of the head is totally relaxed. Just staying with those inhales, staying with those exhales. Excellent, friends. Release your hands out of this, and then step back into a tabletop position. Drop your forearms down to the ground, elbows are right underneath your shoulders. Let opposite hand grab onto the outside of opposite elbow or bicep. That's gonna set our elbows up right at shoulders distance. And then you're gonna bring your forearms back out on parallel, so everything is at shoulders distance. This is dolphin. If you know where you're going, feel free to go right into it. If you don't know, maybe you can take a look up here first and then launch into it. So we lift the hips back and up in space, and then we're walking the toes in towards the elbows and making an A-frame shape. Your elbows are going to want to flare out wide, and then you're keeping them in. And this is a lot of core. It's also a ton of shoulder strength. On an inhale, take your right leg back and up to a three-legged dolphin. Stay with that breath. Exhale, releases right foot to the earth, root into it. Inhale, left leg lifts back up. Again, three-legged dolphin on the other side. Use your breath as you get into the endurance part. Right on, breathe into it, and on an exhale, set the foot down, walk back to a forearm plank position. And then one at a time, push your hands to the ground so you lift from that forearm plank to your plank. Shift your hips back and up into down dog. And then to get onto your back, you could do a little hop up, or you can just drop your knees, drop one of your hips to the ground, bring your legs forward. As you roll onto your back, you're going to grab onto your hamstrings, and then you just will have your mid back and low back to the ground. Your upper back is off the mat, your shoulders are off the mat, your gaze is forward. Reach your arms forward in space, and then start to take twists so that you come to center, and then you open, twisting to the right, and then you twist towards the left. We can do this with one or both hands behind the base of the skull as well, if your neck needs support while you're here. Friends, we're gonna pause right here and just hold the arms straight up, or one or both hands supporting us behind the neck. Your gaze is forward towards your thighs. Stay with your breath. And then on an exhale, release your head down, lower the bellies of the forearms down at your sides, and we'll start to take the legs out to a diagonal and hold the legs on a diagonal. You're welcome to lift your head and shoulders off the ground if you want to add to this. You could also take your hands behind the base of the skull. Let your low back stay rooted into the earth, pulling into the earth as you breathe. If you want to borrow from the Ashtanga tradition, you can press your palms together, and then you're reaching your fingers out towards your feet as your shoulder blades are gently pressed back behind you in space. And then we'll take a bend in the knees, hook the peace sign fingers to your big toes, and then you're in happy baby. Release the weight of your head. Open your knees out wide. Find that little rock side to side on your back. Low back can root towards the earth. Knees are bent so the bottoms of the feet are shining up in space. Ankles stacked above your knees. And then just take a little rock back to your shoulders and try to rock up to your sit bones. And it doesn't need to be like a fast movement, it can be a slow movement. And yes, you can do this with your hands to your thighs as well. And then once we get up into Navasana, boat pose, we're gonna connect into the big toes, and then we're gonna start to extend the legs open in space. And just stay super playful with your balance. So when we're in any type of boat pose, part of what we're working with is that we're not giving into the rounding in the back or the shoulders, that we're working to lift our way up and out of it. And friends, you can also modify here. You can go into a wide-legged boat, grabbing hamstrings as well. That works as well. Last couple rounds of breath, you're doing great. Release when you're ready, cross your ankles, come forward into tabletop, and then back into Sphinx pose, so our restorative back bend. Hips are to the ground, tops of the feet are to the earth, elbows are out underneath the shoulders. If you'd like, just take a twist of your neck, bringing your gaze over your right shoulder. Gaze is over your right, nice and slow, balance things out, twist over to the left. And then we can let the weight of the head come forward and down. You can make some cat shape with your upper back so your shoulders are still lifted up. You can do a little nod side to side with your chin. Excellent, friends. Find a beach pose. So relax your chin down to your hands or down to the mats. You can bend your knees, pick your feet up in space, and give a little circle through your ankles, windshield wiper motions. Nice movement for your low back, nice movement for your knees, and of course for your ankles. Nice belly breathing too, where you can feel the rise and fall of the breath against the ground. You might take this into another locust pose, or if we'd like to do Dhanurasana, bow pose, our feet are pretty much set up. You want to pull your heels towards your sit bones. Avoid twisting your chin left or right, so it's going directly forward.
Create the length in the back of your neck, and then as your thighs press down, kick your legs back, pulling your arms taut, lifting your chest, and eventually you find that balance of kicking and pulling that also then lifts your thighs up off the ground. If your knees are opening super wide, we want to bring the knees in, tone them to a hip bone distance. Sometimes imagining you've got a block between your thighs can help with that. And of course, using that breathing. On an exhale, just release back down. Palms under the shoulders, tuck the toes. We're gonna make our way into down dog. So you could do tabletop, or I'm taking plank, shifting the hips back and up. On an inhale from that down dog, right leg lifts up in space. And as you exhale, open the hip and bend the knee, draping the toes down to the left, creating a scorpion tail. Watch we're not dipping into the left shoulder, it's up on level with the right. And if you'd like to move this into wild thing, friends, you are welcome to. You're gonna pivot with your left hand and flip the dog. Plant your right heel underneath your right knee. You could leave your left leg extended like side plank, or also move your left heel underneath your left knee, more like bridge. And then right arm can extend forward, gaze can come up in space. If you're in wild thing, let's take one more breath in, and as you exhale, turn back into your three-legged down dog, lifting through your right leg, extending. On your next exhale, just work your foot up in between your hands, find a low lunge position, and then step your left foot 1.5 feet behind the right for pyramid. All 10 toes face forward, feet are on railroad tracks, back left foot might angle a little bit out to the left. Start by releasing your head down in space. And then you can root your fingertips to the ground, or fists or palms, or you might have 2 blocks or 1 block in front of your right foot. Relax the weight of the head, pull the hips back in space. You should feel a nice stretch through the back of your right leg, and also a nice forward fold through the spine. We're going to create a twist from here. We did one earlier in lunge, low lunge. Now we'll do it from here. So you can take your left fingertips, your fist, your palm, or if you got a block, your left hand to your block. And then start to reach and extend your right arm up in space. And also use the knuckles of that left hand. And as you start to move into that twist in pyramid, your legs are going to want to move out of the shape they were in, and you're trying to keep them in the shape we were just in. Excellent. Take one more inhale to lift up through that right arm, to pull your right shoulder up and back, and on an exhale, come back into your regular pyramid. A couple rounds of breath, releasing the weight of the head. So a very similar pose is twisted half moon, and that's going to be our next pose we'll move into. So we need to move the left hand now maybe about 6 inches in front of the left foot, to the point where you can pick your left foot up off the ground. It kind of looks almost like I'm in a sort of standing splits, or that I'm starting to move into more of a warrior 3. But then leave the left hand underneath the shoulder, start to twist that right arm open as you press back through your left heel. And a super funky, twisting, balancing pose, so I want you to have fun with it, right? Do your best with it. If you fall out of it, no worries, try again. Use that breathing. Nice, think like 2 more rounds of breath, so give yourself just a little bit of that pacing. We will unwind to a low lunge position. You step the ball of the left foot all the way to the back of the mat. And then from here, move into your plank, and your choice how you want to get to down dog. Once you are in our downward facing dog, we'll inhale the left leg back and up, 3-legged down dog. And then on an exhale, open the hip and bend the knee, drape the toes down to the left as the knee lifts up in space, create that scorpion tail. Keep the strength in your right shoulder, and if you're going to flip into wild thing, we can now pivot with the right hand, and then drop that left leg back behind us, plant your left heel to the ground. You can keep your right leg extended like side plank on the knife edge, or right heel underneath your right knee. Staying focused with that left hand underneath you, that right hand rather underneath you. And then the way you came into it, control your way back out of it. You're just inhaling the left leg back up tall in space. And on an exhale, we step that left foot up into a low lunge position. Nice. For a pyramid pose, right foot steps up 1.5 feet behind the left. Again, feet are on railroad tracks. 10 toes face forward, or a little bit of an angle on the back foot. Relax the weight of the head. Push into your left foot, draw your hips back. Pull back down through your right heel. And I love feeling the press into your fingertips or into your fists or into your palms in pyramid, like you're pressing your way into the stretch. We'll move into that twist when you're ready, so leave the right fingertips, fist or palm to the ground. Reach and extend your left arm up tall in space. Your left hand can pull back way further than your left shoulder. And what we want is to keep the left arm straight up and guide our left shoulder back in space. So you're really opening through the chest here. And nice, keeping that shape on pyramid. On an exhale, just come back into regular pyramid. Release the weight of the head. Even maybe a little nod side to side. And then we've got our other side of this twisted half moon. So bring the right hand out in front of you by maybe like 6 inches to a foot in front of that left foot. Lift your right leg up, and then you're rooting into your palm, your fist, or your fingers, or your knuckles, and then doing that exact same twist that you just did. Now the front of your right hip remains pointing down in space. Your right toes are pointing down, you're pressing back through your right heel, lifting the right heel up on level with your hips. Opening through that shoulder, gaze is out to the left. Think 2 more rounds of breath. Pace yourself. And then on an exhale, move back into your low lunge position. We'll step back into our plank. This is our last flow here to downward facing dog. However you want to take that flow. Excellent. We can release down onto our sit bones. And once you're down to your sit bones, reach your right leg out to the top of your mat and bring the left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Find the front edge of your sit bones. And then take your right fingertips just backing out from your right hip. Reach your left arm up tall in space. Breathe into it. And when your exhale comes, hinge out from the hips. Then connect to the outside of the shin, ankle, or the foot. And you can have a bend in your knee as you need to, or you can subtract that bend in your knee as you need to. And a little hint here with that left leg, we can find activity in it where it can be pressing down and back, kind of back through your left knee. And if you're pressing down and back through the left leg, it will continue to send your spine forward and out from your hips. And it's just a balance of sensation, it's a balance of engagement. And plenty of space and time for our breathing. Inhale, reach your arms wide and tall. And on the exhale, just bring your hands into your heart center. So for our hip opener, we can do double pigeon or recline pigeon. I'll talk through double pigeon first. You're going to slide your right leg a little bit out to the side, and then center your shin of your left leg to the sides of your yoga mat and make it parallel to the front of the mat and back. And then grab your right leg and give a cradle of your right leg in towards your body. Double pigeon, you create a notch. So you've got an indentation that's in between ankle bone and heel. That indentation goes over the ridge of the left knee or the left thigh. And then this is also called fire log pose. So stack your fire logs. You can readjust your sit bones as you need to. If you are working with a blanket or a block or something that could close up a gap in between your right knee and your left foot, you can
can stay upright with this posture, and then there's always the forward fold option, which I love, the seated forward fold, where you walk the hands out in front of you, and then you start to bring that right tricep in towards that right knee. Flexion of your toes back in towards your shin, and then we want to double check that we're not collapsing through the right ankle, it's not dropping down and in. This is the fulcrum point in a lever system, and the lever is that left knee, or that right knee rather, pulling down towards your left foot. So you want to keep that fulcrum point nice and strong. And if you were on your back in a reclined pigeon, it's just the right ankle over the top of the left knee or thigh, relaxing the head, and doing that figure four shape with your legs. Give yourself another few rounds of that breath here. Trying to let go of where you think your body should be at and getting to enjoy where your body is. If you're on your back, you're going to come up to your sit bones. From your sit bones, friends, just extend your legs out in front of you and just give it a little roll out through your ankles. This is our reset to the other side. Once you've got that roll out through your ankles, keep your left foot extended and bring your right foot inside of your left thigh. Find the front edge of your sit bones, and then the left hand is going to come back and out from your left hip. Inhale reaches the right arm up tall in space, and as you exhale, you'll hinge out and dive, and your hand connects to the outside of the foot, ankle, or shin. And you can have bend in your left knee as you need to. You can also work that out as it needs to. Think about your right leg, just a little bit of activity, pressing down and back, sending the spine forward and out from your hips. And we're finding a Goldilocks level of sensation, so we're not over cranking it, overdoing it, we're not underdoing it, we're right in that sweet spot. Inhale, reach up tall in space, breathe in. On the exhale, draw your hands to your chest, and then we're going to take the other side of our double pigeon. So your left leg swings out a little bit wide. Now you'll center your right shin to the sides of your mat, and then parallel to the ends of your mat. Grab your left leg and give a little cradle, a little hug in. And then once you warm the hip up for a moment, find that notch, right? Indentation over the ridge. Fire log stack. Find the flexion of your toes. You're right on the front edge of your sit bones. Maybe something, a prop is closing up the gap right here. Maybe we're staying upright the whole time. Even you could let your left hand give a little bit, the weight of your arms, give a little bit of pressure down onto the leg. Or you're walking yourself into that forward fold option. Maybe the left tricep gently giving a little press to the top of that left knee. And if you're on your back in reclined pigeon, we've got the left ankle over the top of the right thigh, head is down, figure four, just hugging that left knee into the chest. Just give it those last few rounds of breath wherever you're at. you're on your back, you can just stay there. From our double pigeon, you're going to bring yourself up in space, stretch your legs out in front of you, slide the hips up, roll onto your back, just bring the knees in towards the chest, wrap your arms around your knees and give yourself a little rock side to side. Massage out the hips, massage out the sacrum. Get your feet to the ground, hip bone distance from one another. Reach your arms down along your sides and step your heels in until your fingers can touch your heels. With the heels lined up underneath your knees, press your triceps down into the ground with your elbows bent at 90. And then you can already start to hug your shoulder blades in and then eventually lifting up into that bridge pose. And your shoulder blades, as they hug in towards one another, make a shelf for your heart. And the weight of the head just relax down. If you find yourself rolling onto the knife edge of your feet, connect to all corners of your feet, so stabilizing those knees up in space. And that full belly breathing, if your gaze is at your belly, you can see the rise and fall of the breath. We're on like the last round of breath with this one. And when you are ready to let go of it, just try a slow vertebrae by vertebrae release where you let the shoulder blades also open up. This time, just with your head relaxed, reach your legs straight up in space. And just give a little roll out. Your hands can support the back of your legs or rest to the ground. A nice roll out through your ankles, movement through your toes. And then let the left leg come down to the ground. You can bend your right knee up towards your right shoulder. Take a deep breath into it. And as you exhale, move into a spinal twist, letting the left hand pull your right knee down over the left. Right arm reaches out to the right. And you take your gaze out over your right fingertips. Use those exhales to soften, use those exhales to relax. And then roll onto your back. Draw the knees back in. Give it another little rock out on the spine. Take your right leg flat out in front of you. Hug your left knee up to your left shoulder. Draw that inhale. And when your exhale comes, just find your twist. So knee over to the right. You're on the outside edge of your right hip. Open the left arm to the left. Take your gaze out over your left fingertips. Easy breathing.
Roll onto your back, bring your knees in, just one last hug. And then we move into our final resting pose, our corpse posture, Shavasana. So I want you to make yourself comfortable. If you need to add or subtract layers of clothing, if you need to cover your eyes with something, just setting yourself up where for a few minutes you can just lie in stillness. Letting the weight of the arms relax at your sides, turning the palms open. Just allowing the legs to extend and relax. Weight of your head, release and relax. Closing the eyes. You can let go of controlling the breath, let your body take back over on the breathing. It's a surrender. It's not the surrender that you were taught in history. It's not that you lost something. It's a deeper type of surrender. It's that letting go. And the other side of letting go is just getting to be held, getting to be supported, getting to feel the love around you. So slowly just start to bring some life back into your body. Move your fingers, move through your toes. Reach, extend your arms back overhead behind you in space, taking a full morning stretch. Roll into your ankles, roll into your wrists. Turn the weight of your body onto its side, curling up into a fetal position. Relaxing and giving yourself a couple deep rounds of breath.
then gently just lift yourself up and find a comfortable cross-legged position in whatever pose you'd like to end our session with. You can scoot your body to the front edge of your sit bones. Find that length up through your spine. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether it is clear to you or not, no doubt the universe is unfolding exactly as it should. The light in me